And hello out there to all of you who are partaking this, whether you're on YouTube or Blog Talk or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whichever social media platform that this is being seen on. I'm coming to you right now to discuss a few things. I got about 10 minutes to share with you a thought process or something that's on my mind that I wanted to talk about. I'm trying to get this chair, honey. This chair is everything. Oh, Lord. Honey, let me see. Yeah, that's the top of it. Okay. But whatever. I need a full-size camera so I could get the whole thing of this. We just had a wedding up here at the hotel, so I'm using that chair. But for those of you who don't know who I am, this is Demetrius Big Meech Taylor, and you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech right here and right now. And let me come to you very quickly, because now that we have laid the Queen of Soul to rest, it was a really long ceremony, which we knew it was going to be. What is happening is we have, folks are coming under fire about the ceremonies, and I've seen that Bishop Ellis in the city of David had made an apology to Ariana Grande for, he said he touched her some kind of way and made fun of her name or something or another. And I thought that was all in jest, I'm glad that he was on top of that so that it would come into being or whatever. And if he noticed that he had done something wrong or felt that it was wrong and he come out right on top of it to apologize, I'm glad that he took that initiative so that it doesn't become some kind of scandal, something he got right on top of it and was like, oh, let me take care of this right now and offer an official apology so that it won't become a part of the whole Me Too thing. And it was something, I believe, sheer out of accident. I keep looking over that. I'm like, okay, where did he touch her or whatever, outside of the hug or whatever the case may be. So, we'll have to look at that, and everybody has their own opinions of how they feel about that. So it's very interesting. Another thing that I want to talk about is the fact that the pastor who gave the eulogy I can't call his name right now, but he has the church here in Atlanta. And folks are jumping on him because he sat up there and said that women cannot raise a man. And I don't know why women want to jump on that and feel as though he was trying to downgrade them and carrying on. Sweeties, let me say this. I know we are in the age of the woman, honey, and I was raised by a single mother. My father, from the time I was 8 years old and after, my father was not a part of the picture or a part of the household, okay, for various reasons. But he was not there. Having him a part of my life, he was not an active part. He was there and carrying on. There were visits that I initiated for the most part. But as far as him molding and shaping me and carrying on, that's something that he did not do. And there were four of us. There's three of us now. My brother passed about 5.5 years ago now. However, women, you can't raise a man. Now, you could raise a husband, you could raise a good, strong, able-bodied male. He could be respectful and carried on. He may know how to treat a woman the way she ought to be treated. He may know how to do all of that. And yes, you can do that. But women, you cannot raise a man to be a man. Now, honey, I don't know why y'all don't want to sit down there and accept that as a fact. To all of my butch lesbians out there who are aggressive girls and carrying on, and my masculine identified lesbians, I realize that you have very strong traits and exude your masculinity, and that's wonderful. That's all accepting. But to raise a man would take another man to do, because there are certain things that men go through, that males go through and carrying on, that we have to discuss amongst ourselves that only another man will understand. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it has to deal with equipment, because, hell, you can't tell me how my dick work or whatever. You can't tell me what I'm going through if this happens or that happens or whatever. You can't tell me what to expect if someone becomes pregnant based upon, well, not me, but based upon, my sexual escapades or whatever. You can't tell me about what it is to go down to the family courthouse, because the court system is against men the way that they are, because the woman want to sit down there and take his money, and this, that, and the other for child support. And every time she feels the need to want to get her hair up her ass and want to increase the child support, it fucks with his life and tears up his particular self-esteem and this, that, and well, not his self-esteem, but hell, if he's already given, what, 1/3 to maybe 1/2, almost 3/4 of his check, and then you go down for an increase, how in the hell is he supposed to survive? What is a man supposed to do when the woman wants to sit down there and blame him and judge him and carry on because he has another family, and she's sitting up there got to deal with this, that, and the other, and dealing with heartbreak and pain? What is a man supposed to tell? I mean, how does a woman tell another man or raise a man to deal with issues when a woman is keeping a man from seeing his child because she is upset, not because she has reason to maybe he's a dope dealer, or he's slovenly and don't know how to care for himself and can't raise the kids, not no legitimate reasons. You want to withhold the children because you got to hair up your ass and want to punish him and this, that, and the other. Women don't know how to raise a man to deal with those kind of situations from a man's perspective. How do you do it? How does a woman raise a man to where he has to understand how to control his temper and not knock the shit out of this damn woman because of what the laws and stuff says? As far as it's not it ain't cool to hit a woman and carrying on. Men have to police other men. Men have to raise other men. And yes, let me say this out loud now. There are piss poor examples out there. We got a whole bunch of bullshit out there to where the job has not been done. I understand it, ladies. I get it. And I understand where you've had to step in. You've had to, you had to raise the kids the best that you know how. This is not saying that you do not know how to raise children. Yes, you can raise them well and this, that, and the other. But as far as raising a man and creating a man out of the, helping him come through the mess. Male puberty, honey, is something completely different than female puberty. Now, as a woman, you know how to do that. You know how to sit down with your daughters and tell them what to expect about body changes and this, that, and the other. You know how to do that. You know how to tell another young girl about her cycle, what it means to cleanse herself, what it means when her breasts are growing and what that lump is, and how to deal with that pain, how to deal with her hair, what this means to do this, how to become ladylike. See, all of those particular things you could teach your daughters because that's what you've had to go through. You teach them the best. You can't teach a man how to do all that. Okay? You can't teach a man what it is to go out there to get your hustle on, to understand a real hustle from some of the bullshit ass hustle, whatever, that's not going to sit down there and sustain you. You have to listen. And there's a lot of unspoken rules. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't make sense, child. It doesn't make sense, and most of the time it's not fair. But there's a lot of unspoken rules that go on that we cannot accept or expect a woman to handle. Because hell, if you understood it, then that means you will understand how men think, how men talk, how men whatever, and we wouldn't have this divide between the sexes. You understand? Or the genders. You feel me? I mean, how is it that you want to sit there and say that you know how to do all this, but yet you still don't understand your man? How is it that you expect to do all this? Because what ends up happening, ladies, is oftentimes if you're trying to raise this young boy to be a man, in many cases, I've seen the woman end up substituting her son for her pseudo-husband. And not that you're trying to have sex with him and you're making this a sexual thing. That's not it. But all the responsibilities, all his actions and care, you start to treat him like he's the quote-unquote man of the house. And yet you give him all these damn responsibilities, and then you attack him as if he were your husband, as if he was your helpmeet, as if he was supposed to be your fucking equal, and he's just your son. Okay, those are the things that we have to deal with, and you have to sit down there and really, 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 really understand and examine that. This is why it is important when you're raising a young male and you have strong role models in his life. If you have your fathers, your uncles at Carino, you know how to put him around other men folk at Carino. You know the kind of man that you want your son to be like, especially if you have your fathers in your lives. And for you daddy's girls who feel as though, yes, your father was everything, you wanted your son to be like him. So you put him around those positive influences carrying on. Why? Because that is another man that understands and gets the gist. You see what I'm saying? So this whole thing with this pastor and the folks jumping on this and saying that he is not, he was foul or whatever, all the other euphemisms and adjectives that they want to say. I believe folks then got into their feelings and feel as though that he was criticizing that they can't raise children or they can't parent. And all he simply said was, a woman cannot raise a man. And that there, I don't care, just like a man can't raise a woman. Now, contrary to popular belief, back in the day when the man was always older and he would get the color purple thing, the man 30, he got a 16-year-old wife or whatever. He basically, he raised her like a daughter figure that he was having sex with, and teaching her the ropes of how he was expecting her to be daddy's girl. And not a wife who was a helpmeet, and then punished her because she couldn't meet up to his expectations when she was a child. So see, that's a whole different dynamic, and we have allowed society to accept it and think that that's supposed to how life is supposed to be, and think that because she's the nurturer, she's the woman, she's supposed to raise these children. And now that we're in the era of the single parent, and I'm gonna say this, ladies, now we're in the era of the single parent, and you have multiple kids with multiple daddies. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 kids, and then you got just as many daddies. Girl, bye. How in the hell you supposed to think you gonna raise a man when you don't even know what kind of man he's supposed to be because you done laid down with half the world? Or you done laid down with a piss poor excuse for a man. All he was good for was the sex before the baby got here, and then you end up in a mistake. He done popped one in you, or two if you got twins or multiple children. And then it becomes this whole big old cycle. So ladies, let us look at that realistically and stop sitting up there, getting into your feelings, because there are certain things you just will not be able to do. And a woman cannot raise a man. She could teach him how to treat a woman. She could teach him how to be a gentleman. She could teach him how to sit down there and learn his manners and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the intricacies of being a man, and I don't care if this is gay, straight, or whatever, because y'all know I'm gay as Christmas, honey, but a man cannot sit down there and raise a woman, and a woman cannot raise a man. So y'all get up off that pastor and understand what he's trying to say, because basically he was saying that the family dynamic has changed. The men are not in the household anymore. The men are not there for the most part. Now, this is not to slam those who are and the good fathers out there, but as far as being in the house where we have a two-parent household system, that there is not working like that anymore. And for those of you who are LGBT and you have two women, you have two men in the household or whatever, you know damn well that y'all go to outside externals to make sure that the child is fully rounded. Now, we all knew that. We all do that. So let us not sit up there and get in our feelings about this and think that this is some kind of do whatever, do what did he. So on that, I'm running out of time. And make sure you subscribe and follow me. Share this with any and everybody. And until the next time, my darlings, that's that. If you love me, tell a friend.